Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Makita 40V XGT, but in particular, we're going to be talking about this 40V XGT brushless reciprocating saw on their new lineup or whatnot. We've had a good chance to use it. We're going to go over it top to bottom, put it on our test track, get some numbers, so stick with us. All right, y'all. So Makita fairly recently launched the 40V XGT, right? And one of the tools that they premiered when they launched that 40V XGT was this reciprocating saw, okay? So this reciprocating saw model number is GRJ01, okay? So Makita has been making tools for a long time, okay? I'm pretty sure most of people probably remember that little stick Makita drill with the power pack. I feel like everybody had one of those, right? But they've come a long way. So Makita is not new to the market, but the 40V XGT is new to the market. And this is in the reciprocating saw in their 40V XGT lineup. And they've made a lot of reciprocating saws, right? So one of the reciprocating saws we used to use quite a bit was the 18V X2 when you're cutting like pretty big heavy duty stuff, right? I mean, we used to use that. Then we also alternated between the super Sawzall from Milwaukee and stuff like that. But anyways, the point is that Milwaukee is not new, or Makita is not new to making reciprocating saws. So we've got this one when it first came out, kind of in like a combo kit or whatnot, and we wanted to at least use it for quite a bit before we gave it a good review or whatnot. So let's go over the marketing hype, and then we'll bring you in closer and take a better look at it. So this is Makita's GRJ01. Has a Makita-built brushless motor delivering 35% faster cutting speeds. Has a digital communication within the XGT platform that provides 2 times longer sustained power under heavy load applications. Has a metal reinforced gear shaft. Has a self-lubricating slider for increased durability. Makita built a 2-speed brushless motor that delivers 0 to 2300 RPMs on low and 0 to 3000 SPM on high. Sorry, I mean SPM, strokes per minute. Has a long 1 1/4 inch stroke to provide better cutting efficiency. Most reciprocating saws in the market will be somewhere around 1 inch to 1 1/8 of an inch. This is 1 1/4, okay? Keep that in mind. Has a refined crankcase mechanism and also to reduce blade reflection and reduce vibration. Weighs in at a whopping 9.9 pounds. Has a 2-finger trigger, electronic brake for maximum productivity, toolless blade change lever for fast installation, removal, and shoe adjustments, blade longevity. Built-in LED light with a pre-glow and afterglow that illuminates the work area. Has a retractable rafter hook that you can use to store the tool. XBT has a standard XBT protection, which is extreme protection that Makita kind of says is, you know, to withstand water resistance in harsh job site conditions from dust, water, and all that kind of fun stuff. It's designed to be used with the XGT batteries, which are designed with impact resistant construction to allow the tool to endure high demand and heavy duty applications. This Makita tool comes with a standard Makita 3-year limited warranty, okay? So, as you said, this tool weighs in at about a whopping 9.9 pounds. So if you saw the Milwaukee Super Sawzall video, that tool weighs in at a whopping 8.8 pounds. So if the Super Sawzall is 8.8 and this is 9.9, why is this heavier or whatnot, okay? So anyways, one of the things to point out here is Makita generally builds stuff really well, okay? And they usually focus on things like quality control and, you know, higher refined tool feeling, or tool feel and tool power and stuff like that, okay? So one of the things you will feel when you pick this tool up, because you kind of look at it and it looks a little small and things like that, right? You're gonna think, okay, you're gonna pick it up, it's not that heavy, but damn, it's gonna hit you right away. This tool is not a lightweight or a light duty tool. You can tell when you pick this thing up, this thing is built pretty well and it's built for some heavy duty use, okay? So, keep that stuff in mind, but let's bring you in closer and take a better look at it. So this right here is the left side of the saw if you are holding the grip here, okay? So obviously it's got standard Makita emblem and logo. It stands right here, BL brushless. That way it has a BL brushless motor, and it has a standard Makita XGT emblem here. There's nothing too much really going on this side, okay? This black part here is a rubber overmold, and it is a pretty nice rubber overmold. If you're used to like Makita reciprocating saws and Makita tools or whatnot, you'll feel right at home with this, okay? It does do a lot of things things, feels comfortable. It does get a little bit warm under a lot of heavy duty use, but pretty much almost all tools do that, so nothing that really stands out or whatnot, okay? Moving around to the back here, has a standard Makita grip. Nothing, like I said, out of the ordinary. If you're used to using Makita tools, it's going to be pretty standard, okay? On the bottom part here is where the battery connects and everything fits in, especially for XGT tools. Feels just a little bit different, right? The other thing that comes out on here, as almost all Makita tools do, has these two little gel inserts here, which really help reduce the vibration between the tool and the battery when in use. That way, kind of, you know, dampen some of the twerking going on with the battery. All right, so the other thing you'll see, notice on the bottom here, is you see like metal plates here, right? So on some of the tools, on heavy duty tools, and this is like attention to detail and things that Makita does pretty well, the battery, since in any tool that does any kind of oscillation or whatnot, there's also a lot of vibration, right? So one of the tool weak points is where the battery connects, especially if you connect a lot of the batteries on and off, and especially when you're just using it, you'll see the batteries are just sitting there like twerking, right? So Makita actually put metal inserts here on both sides. That way, not only does it help the battery slide in easier or whatnot, it actually helps reduce the wear from the battery twerking around or whatnot when it's in use, and also sliding on and off the battery, okay? Nothing else going on back here. On this side here, the other side, like the right-hand side, if you're holding the grip, you obviously see the rafter hook, and it fits pretty well. This rafter hook is kind of like contoured a little bit to this tool, right? So if you look at it like this, you'll see it has a little bit of a weird, or maybe in my opinion, it just seems a little weird, like shape of it in a way, right? So I'm not sure how what's going to come out there on camera, but you kind of see it takes this weird turn and goes like this. So if you want to look at the capacity of this, right, the inside length here seems to be a lot wider than here, right? So I thought maybe sometimes if I had a hard time hooking it up, right, you just bend this down a little bit. I didn't do that, but I mean, it works pretty well. Standard Makita rafter hook, I would say. This one's probably just a little bit lighter than some of the other stuff that I've seen on their other tools, but nothing too much to worry about there, okay? Brushless emblem here, Makita XGT. So this right here is the lever for the blade lock and unlock, or blade toolless change system, okay? So the locking pinion or adjustment nut or blade holder, whatever you want to call it, is here, right? And it does stay open, or the knuckle or whatever you want to call it stays open, such that you can insert the blade without pulling this lever up. Take for instance, right? Let me get a battery and drop this battery here. Not have to mess with holding that, right? Take this blade here, we'll insert it real quick. Right, see? Went in, no problem. And it stays in. Haven't had an issue with this blade falling out in all times that we've used it. And to get the blade out, all you do is pull this lever up, right? And the blade will pop right out. That way, if it's hot and you use it a lot, you just pull it up, pops out, okay? So a quick toolless blade changing system, that right there, I think works really, really well, okay? So if you've seen the other video on the Milwaukee Super Sawzall, where you kind of have to fiddle with this like knuckle or blade holder or whatever coming out so that you can turn it with your fingers or whatnot, that's just a pain, okay? So this type of system is the good system. I would say probably one of the better ones on the market that you can use, okay, because I mean it's just really easy to use and changing blades. Nobody likes doing that, but it seems to work pretty well here, okay? So that right there I would say is really good. This shoe here will pivot, right? So if you see here, watch, we'll demonstrate here. It pivots a little bit to kind of help you get that good angle, right? But it does not pivot a lot, okay? So that's something to think about. Haven't had any issues with that, the amount of pivoting it does, but I did want to point that out, okay? So this shoe retracts or comes out and also retracts in, and unlike some tools, right, you can see that this, even though it is straight and level, right, in a way here, there is spots carved out along this this lever that you need to pull down to either pull the lever down relatively easily without having to like try to get your finger and stuff like that all up in there, okay? So look here, right, you can either use your finger here or here, right? So if you did want to pull it down, I would just go ahead and pull this here, right? So, and then I would pull this blade. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff in there. this shoe out, right? And I can also plug it just right back in, right? And you can adjust it to wherever it needs to go, lock it down, no real issue, okay? So like I said, watch, let's do that again. It will be easier if I put something here to hold this, so I don't have to hold the tool. Pull this lever down, put it in, done, okay? I'm gonna take this shoe out just to show you a little bit what's going on in here. Probably should have did a better job cleaning this, except just doing it real quick. Right here, down here is where the LED light is, right? So let's go ahead and take a battery, put the battery in, see how it shows you. See, the LED light is there, right? And it will stay on for a little bit after you use the tool, so it works quite well, okay? So the other thing that I do want to point out on this tool is if you check here, or if you check the business end of the saw, right? This entire knuckle, or the blade holder, whatever you want to call it, is almost completely encased, right? There's really no way to access or mess with the knuckle or the shaft that's really in there, okay? Because it's completely, not completely encased, but it's encased on all sides except for this part. So if anything were to go wrong, obviously you probably won't be able to fix it that easily, but I haven't had any issues with Makita reciprocating saws with anything like that going wrong, okay? So let's show you this blade chain system here again real quick, right? So if I take this tool, while this is easily visible, drop this blade in here, you do have to push it in quite a bit, right? So it's there, no issues, right? So it's not coming out. You can also just pull this out and grab it sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want it to fall on the floor, so you just do that, okay? So this works actually really well. It's a great system, okay? So I could definitely encourage, or I definitely like this kind of system better than other types of systems, okay? So that's what's really going on over there. We'll go ahead and talk about the top part here. So the top part has, if you're used to the Makita, I forgot what they call it, like XRJ, the 18-volt X2 model or whatnot. It has two speeds, right? So you can go to either speed. If you press it from the left-hand side to the right side, it's speed 2. If you go from right side to left-hand side, that's speed 1. If you put this in the middle, it's locked, okay? The other thing to note and think about here is this trigger. So this is a two-handed trigger, okay? And it's obviously more comfortable if you're using a tool to use two fingers than just one finger that like on some of the saws do. This is actually better and feels more comfortable this way. The downside to this is, as you can see, this part right here, if you're wearing like fairly large gloves or gloves that don't fit perfectly well, which almost none of them really do, if the part on your fourth finger right here, or your ring finger, or on whatever hand you're using, will get caught sometimes in here. But that's only if you're using like fairly large gloves that have a little bit of play in it. But other than that, no real issues. This happened just a couple times. It's not a huge deal. It just does get a little bit annoying. So if I am using some tool like this, I will use a different type of glove that it's not like that, right? So like if you're using like goat skin gloves or whatnot, you don't really have that issue because they won't really squeeze in there. But if you're using like, you know, those cheaper nitrile coated gloves or whatnot, you may or may not have that issue, okay? Top of the tool I already showed you earlier, but this is it, the Rafter hook system is on here. If you didn't want it, you can obviously just unscrew that and take it off, okay? So that's what's pretty much going on with the tool. There's not too much going on. All the important parts and stuff like that seem to be really nice fit and well put together, and it does work fairly well, right? So if you've used Makita reciprocating saws, like I say again, you'll feel right at home. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing too interesting or whatnot, but it does work, okay? So let's go ahead and put it on the track, and then we'll get the numbers. But before we do that, we'll touch on track again real quick, mainly because it's probably the second video going up in the series, right? So the track is really two 2x8s, sandwiching a 3/8 sheet of OSB, creating a header, okay? And it's a framing lumber, right? And it's got 12 16D nails embedded in it, and the run, pretty much we're gonna make 4 runs at it using this Milwaukee axe blade, okay? And this is actually designed for with nails. It literally says on the blade. It's a pretty standard blade. A lot of people use this blade. Most people seem to use that one or Diablo. But anyways, the point is, 4 cuts, twice with a 10-pound drop weight, and twice with a user just putting as much force on it as you can without stalling it out, even though we have stalled it out a couple times. But the point of that, like I said, is to figure out how well will it go. Obviously, when you're using the tool, don't force it. Don't put all your weight or whatnot into it, or don't put too much weight. Just let the blade do the work. This is really just to get performance numbers and see how much the tool will take, okay? So without too much further ado, let's go ahead and put it on track and we'll be right back. So I hope y'all caught those numbers, because those numbers went by really fast, okay? So in case you didn't, we'll go ahead and recap them again just real quick, all right? So we did the test with a 2.5 amp hour battery and a 4 amp hour battery. And with the 2.5 amp hour battery, first run comes in at 14.22, second run comes in at 13.56, third run comes in at 8.16, fourth run comes in at 10.20, okay? Averaging those 4 runs, the average or performance score, whatever you want to call it, it's going to come out to 11.54, okay? So where does that really put this tool, okay? So currently, it puts this tool in 4th place, okay, right behind the Milwaukee Super Sawzall with a 6.0 high output. So the 6.0 with the high output, I think got a score of 11.5, and the 40 volt with the 2.5 got 11.54. I mean, with margin of error or whatnot, let's just say that it's pretty much close to the same score, okay? But it does match up to right around the Super Sawzall with the 6.0 battery. So running the test with 21700 series cells using AKA this 4 amp hour battery, this 4 amp hour battery with this Makita GRJ01, the first run comes in at 12.24, second run comes in at 11.41, third run comes in at 7.38, fourth run comes in at 8.48, okay? If you average those 4 runs, the average comes in at 9.88. Wow, okay? So that actually is pretty fast, because that puts this tool with a 4 amp hour kitted to it, and tied for second place right behind the Milwaukee Super Sawzall with a 12-0 with orbital off. Okay, so let's go ahead and touch on that real quick. This tool does not have an orbital setting option, right? So there's no way to test this tool with the orbital on or whatnot. Okay, so and I think that's okay, maybe in my opinion, mainly because I personally don't use orbital on most of the time. Like I told you previously, I'm mostly using orbital off mainly because the vibrations and feel to the user just, I mean, I don't think the performance just really outweighs that, right? So, and plus you can only really use orbital and softer material, right? So, and with that being said, that's that. So this saw does work well, or does work really fast and cuts really fast, okay? So my personal opinion is if you're going to use this tool or get this tool, right? It's sold with a tool only or a kit. I would definitely use it with a 4.0 battery or higher, meaning because obviously you see better performance numbers. But the other thing about this tool is when you use it and you first squeeze that trigger, you'll feel right away, wow, this tool is a really nice tool. It's balanced pretty well. It's got like a 2-finger trigger, and when it's moving or cutting or whatnot, you'll feel that you just feel like a sense of refinement, that somebody somewhere, some group took a lot of refinement and engineering to make it just feel like really nice or really refined. That's something that you can't really convey, and I know it's really subjective, but I do want to point that out because not all tools will feel like that, right? Like some tools will just feel like really rough and you just feel like, right? You just got a bunch of power, right? This tool will feel really fine and nice, okay? So this tool right now, like I said, is currently tied in second place with the Milwaukee Super Sawzall with a 12.0 with the 4.0. So it is up there on the leaderboard, but in my opinion, I now gravitate more towards using this tool, mainly because of the blade change system, okay? So the blade change system is or blade holder and change system, and the shoe adjustment when is just far superior to the Milwaukee Super Sawzall, okay? So what can we say about this tool? Obviously, this is a great tool. Makita took a lot of time building this tool out really well, right? So obviously it cuts fast. With the 4.0, it's tied in second place with the Super Sawzall with the 12.0 and orbital off, okay? So like I say in most of these videos, performance numbers are great and things to look at, but don't buy a tool just based on the performance number unless you're building something that's like the only thing that matters, right? If that is to you, then fine, go for it, whatnot. What I can really say is Makita 40V XGT is fairly new to the market. Makita has been making tools for a long time. They have a great sense or notion about them that they just make quality tools or whatnot, and they make tools that will get the job done and will get you there, okay? So 40V lineup is new, and you feel that level of refinement and the experience that Makita's had in building motors and tools and stuff like that in this tool, okay? And like I told you, it feels nice. The things that really annoy you or annoy people, or at least annoy me on certain things, it doesn't have on this tool, right? Like the shoe adjustment system, blade change system, quick change system, being able to pop the blade out really quick, right? So when I was running this test and just cutting stuff and either setting stuff up or things like that, just changing out hot blades without touching, I mean, that's something that I feel like almost every tool these days should have for a professional grade tool, right? I don't think this tool is really going to have any issue in the longevity, mainly because Makita's been around for a long time. Is it the right tool for you? I don't know. You have to decide that. Only you can decide. You have to buy the tool based on what tools you have in what lineups you have, and aka what you need, right? If you have the Milwaukee Super Sawzall, would I go out and buy this? I don't know, probably not, because if you have the Makita Milwaukee Super Sawzall, you're probably going to be in the Milwaukee system, right? If you're in the Makita system and not the Milwaukee system, I would definitely, this would be the one I would go for. That's all I can really say, right? So hope this video's helped you guys out. Stay tuned for more videos and stuff like this in the series or not. We'll try to see what other tools and stuff we can get. And have a great day. See you guys next time.